Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous male left behind and forward-moving spouse. His bomb drop was December 20th of 2020 and his date of marriage is 2016. He has a Vanisher and he's not familiar with the energy type. He says, "My wife is a complete Vanisher. There's been a legal separation and we've filed all of the financial and proceeds are divided and assets are resolved. The judgment for divorce is prepared but not signed. She's expressed recently and at bomb drop that she doesn't need or want a divorce. She hides her new Limerent Object from me. She's been in denial since day one. She comes from a chaos childhood background and she has unresolved childhood issues. This marks her third divorce. I'm about ready to sign judgment for divorce. She appears to be avoiding to face the mirror. Is there any hope?" So first, there's always hope, so I don't think that's really what you're asking. You're asking, what is the probability? Is there more hope? Is hope something I can count on? Is this worth the risk? Look at her history. You've been married for 6 years. And 4 years into that, she had bomb drop, right? 4.5 years. She's been married 3 times. You're her third husband. So she's gone through this before. Now, what does that mean to you? She's also a Vanisher. I've said many times, Vanishers have a lower chance of reconciliation. How are you going to reconcile if you don't ever have communication? If you don't have contact? She said she doesn't care about being married or divorced, so she doesn't care about the paper. She doesn't need that to move on with her life. And in fact, with her Limerent Object, she doesn't need that for her to be able to, she doesn't need to be married either to be in a relationship with somebody. I'm not talking in adultery or infidelity, just in general, outside of marriage. If there were no marriage, she might be okay just living together, not shacking up, but just cohabiting. She just doesn't need those things. Or those things right now because she's had the failure. And again, now you're in that same failure process with her. She figures, why should I get married? I don't need to get married to him because I've done it and it hasn't worked. I've done that part of it. I've done the ring. I've done the dress. And that's an okay place for her to be. Where are you? It seems like you still have desire for your relationship to work with her. First thing, that's not ever going to happen if you don't have contact, if you can't communicate with her. If she's a complete Vanisher, that means that if you tried to contact her, and maybe you haven't done that, she wouldn't respond back either. But she has expressed recently that she doesn't need the divorce, so there's been some form of contact, even if it's maybe through lawyers instead. Women are more decisive than men. Women are more likely to be distant contactors than men are. Still not over, if you split them just among women, I don't think that it's more likely to be distant contactors, but they are more likely than men to be distant contactors, which means lower chance of reconciliation. I have a feeling that the level of hope isn't where you want it to be. So you need to determine what you need to do with that. You are at the 2-year mark around this Christmas. What does that mean for you? What does that mean you need to do with your life and the choices you need to make for them? Do you feel that standing is going to waste your time? I don't know. But I can tell you, given the history that you've described, third marriage, chaos kid, she is a Vanisher. Your chances of getting to reconciliation are not high. They're not medium. They're not kind of low, they're way down there. And if that's what you're looking for, No, I don't think it's unlikely. It can happen. Yeah, sure. But it's unlikely. And I know that sucks. And I know that everybody else listening to me doesn't want to hear it. But I think you all need to go into this understanding and accepting that it's not going to happen for some people. It's not going to happen for most people, even when we want it to. And if you're looking at this as a risk sort of thing, what are the should I take this risk? If you're looking at it as an investment, where do I buy the stock or not? What are the chances? Well, if you know the stock is very likely to go down, in other words, the hope is low, you don't invest. And if investing means standing, it's probably not for you. But if you're not at that point where you've healed enough, maybe you're still standing in your grace period. Work on your own healing until you make a determination about what you're going to do in moving forward with your life. And if you're going to see other people or not. Okay. Sorry. I hope that was at least helpful and that you appreciate my attempt to be honest with it. And I'll see everybody in the next question.